stop. Before you do anything else today, before you take your supplements, before you lace up your shoes, before you change a single thing about your diet, you need to watch this video. Because here is the problem with everything you have heard about reversing your biological age. Nobody tells you where to start. They hand you a list. Sleep better, eat better, exercise more, reduce stress, take omega-3s. And then they leave you standing there, overwhelmed, not knowing which one matters first. Today, that changes. I am going to give you a specific, numbered, step-by-step protocol in the exact order you should implement it, so you can start turning back your biological clock this week. Not someday. This week. Here is what most men over 60 do when they get serious about their health. They try to change everything at once. New diet on Monday. New exercise program on Tuesday. New sleep schedule on Wednesday. New supplements on Thursday. And by Saturday, they have quit all of it. Not because they lacked willpower, not because the science is wrong, but because no one gave them a protocol. No one told them, this one first, then this, then this. The research on biological age reversal is clear on one thing. The interventions that work do not have equal weight. Some move the epigenetic clock dramatically, others matter, but only after the foundation is in place. In episode 7, we looked at what biological age actually is, what the science shows, and how much it can change. If you have not seen that episode, I will link it above. Today is the practical episode. Today is the one you have been waiting for. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which change to make first, exactly which one to make second, and the precise order that gives you the fastest and most measurable results. Let's go. If I could only give you one instruction, one single thing to do before anything else, it would be this: fix your sleep. I know that is not the exciting answer, but let me tell you what the research actually shows. A 2024 study involving over 2,700 participants found that short sleep and insomnia were associated with approximately 1.3 to 1.45 years of acceleration in GrimAge, one of the most accurate biological age clocks we have. That means poor sleep is not just making you tired, it is making you measurably, biologically, older. A 2025 study looked specifically at older adults over 60 and found that those with insomnia showed accelerated epigenetic clock measurements compared to those who slept well. And here is why sleep has to be first on this list. Every other intervention on this protocol depends on it. Your body does not repair DNA damage when you are awake. It does not clear inflammatory proteins from your brain when you are awake. It does not regulate cortisol, the hormone that accelerates epigenetic aging, when you are awake. Sleep is the operating system. Everything else is software. So here is what I want you to do this week. Not next month. This week. Pick a consistent bedtime and stick to it, even on weekends. Research shows that irregular sleep timing, independent of duration, is associated with faster biological aging, and aim for 7 hours minimum. The sweet spot for men over 60 appears to be 6 to 7 hours. Both significantly less and significantly more are associated with faster aging markers. 1 consistent bedtime. Starting tonight. Once sleep is in place, even partially, step 2 is exercise. And the type of exercise matters. You might be surprised. A research review published in 2025 in the journal Aging, led by researchers at Tohoku University, looked at the current evidence on exercise and epigenetic aging. Their conclusion was direct. Regular physical activity, particularly aerobic training combined with resistance training, may delay or even partially reverse epigenetic aging across multiple organs. Not just muscle. Heart, liver, and gut tissue as well. One study they reviewed found that sedentary middle-aged adults who completed 8 weeks of combined aerobic and strength training reduced their epigenetic age by approximately 2 years. A separate randomized controlled trial found that a low-dose HIIT program, just 3 sessions per week for 4 weeks, produced a 3.59-year reduction in biological age in adults between 40 and 65. Here is what that means practically for you. Your goal is not to become an athlete. Your goal is to become consistently active in 2 specific ways. Some form of aerobic activity that raises your heart rate, walking briskly, cycling, swimming, 3 to 4 times per week. And resistance training, body weight, bands, or weights, 2 times per week. You do not need a gym. You do not need an hour. 20 to 30 minutes of effort, done consistently, is enough to begin shifting the epigenetic clock. Start here. Build the habit before you optimize it. Step 3 is nutrition. But I am not going to tell you to go on a diet. I am going to tell you something more specific and more useful. The diet that has the strongest evidence for reducing biological age is not a calorie restriction plan. It is a methylation-supportive eating pattern. Here is what that means. Your epigenetic clock is driven largely by DNA methylation, chemical marks on your genes that change with age. Certain nutrients directly support the enzymes responsible for healthy methylation. These include folate, found in dark leafy greens, B12, found in fish, eggs, and meat, choline, found in eggs and liver, and polyphenols, found in berries, olive oil, and green tea. A randomized controlled trial published in the journal Aging found that a diet and lifestyle program built around these principles, combined with sleep and exercise guidance, produced a 3.23-year reduction in biological age in men aged 50 to 72 over just 8 weeks. Blood levels of a key methylation marker increased by 15% in the treatment group. The practical version of this is not complicated. Fill half your plate with vegetables, particularly dark, leafy ones. Eat 2 to 3 servings of oily fish per week. Use extra virgin olive oil. Eat eggs. Reduce refined sugar and ultra-processed foods, which research suggests are associated with accelerated biological aging. This is not exotic. This is food your grandparents would recognize. And remember, you are not doing this for how you look. You are doing this to change the DNA methylation patterns in your cells. That distinction matters. It changes why you eat, and that changes how consistently you do it. Most men who are working on their health are focused on the obvious things: weight, blood pressure, cholesterol, and those matter. But there is a process running underneath all of them that most men, and honestly, many doctors, are not paying close enough attention to. And that process is chronic low-grade inflammation. Research consistently links elevated inflammatory markers with faster epigenetic aging. A 2025 study from the Buck Institute found that participants with higher baseline inflammation showed the most significant biological age reversal in response to therapy. The implication is direct. The more inflamed your system, the faster you age at the molecular level. You cannot see inflammation. You cannot feel it most of the time. But it is measurable, and more importantly, it is modifiable. The steps we have already covered, sleep, exercise, and a methylation-supportive diet, already address inflammation significantly. But step 4 adds 2 targeted interventions on top of that foundation. First, omega-3 fatty acids. A large trial published in Nature Aging in 2025, following over 2,000 adults, found that 1 gram of omega-3 daily had a protective association with biological aging markers. That is 1 standard fish oil capsule per day. Not expensive, not complicated. Second, reduce the obvious inflammatory drivers specific to you. If you smoke, the evidence on smoking and epigenetic age acceleration is unambiguous. If you drink heavily, the same. If you carry significant abdominal fat, visceral fat tissue is itself an inflammatory organ. Ask your doctor to check your CRP at your next appointment. It costs almost nothing, and it tells you more about your biological aging trajectory than your cholesterol number alone. Here is what nobody wants to hear. Stress management is not optional. I know. Every health video tells you to reduce stress. And I know that for most men over 60, the instruction to reduce stress is about as useful as telling someone in a burning building to stay calm. So let me be specific about what the science actually requires, and what it does not. The clinical trial that showed 3.23 years of epigenetic age reversal included a daily relaxation response practice as part of the protocol. This was not an hour of meditation. It was a specific, structured breathing or relaxation practice done once per day. The mechanism involves the stress hormone pathway. Chronic activation of that pathway raises cortisol. Elevated cortisol drives DNA methylation changes associated with accelerated aging. Intervening in that cycle, even briefly, has measurable downstream effects. Here is the minimum effective dose: 10 to 15 minutes per day of controlled breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, or guided meditation. Every day. Not when you feel stressed. Every day, because prevention is more powerful than recovery. There are free tools to do this. Guided breathing on YouTube, the 4-7-8 breathing method, which takes 4 minutes and requires nothing but your lungs. 10 minutes. Every day. That is the entire requirement for Step 5. I want to address something directly, because I know many of you are already taking supplements, and some of you came to this video specifically to find out which supplements to take. Here is the truth. Supplements are Step 6, not Step 1. The reason I put supplements last is not because they are unimportant. Some have genuinely strong evidence. It is because supplements placed on top of poor sleep, no exercise, and a pro-inflammatory diet do almost nothing measurable. They are the finishing layer. They are not the foundation. With that said, here is what the evidence supports for men over 60 specifically. Omega-3 fatty acids, 1 gram daily. The Nature Aging 2025 trial data is as strong as it gets for a single supplement and biological aging. Vitamin D3 with K2. Particularly relevant if you live in a northern climate or spend limited time outdoors. Vitamin D insufficiency is associated with faster epigenetic aging in several large cohort studies. A quality probiotic. The clinical trial we discussed earlier included probiotic supplementation, and emerging research on the gut epigenome connection suggests that gut microbiome diversity has a measurable relationship with biological age clocks. And folate, specifically methylfolate, the active form, particularly if you are not consistently eating dark leafy greens. That is the list. 4 supplements. Build steps 1 through 5 first. Then add these. The order is not arbitrary. It is the protocol. Let me give you the protocol one more time, in order. Step 1. Fix your sleep. Consistent bedtime. 7 hours minimum. This is the operating system. Everything else depends on it. Step 2. Exercise. Combined aerobic activity and resistance training. 20 to 30 minutes consistently is enough to start moving the epigenetic clock. Step 3. Eat for methylation, not restriction. Dark leafy greens, oily fish, olive oil, eggs. Reduce refined sugar and processed foods. Step 4. Target inflammation. Ask your doctor to check your CRP. Start 1 gram of omega-3 daily. Address the obvious inflammatory drivers in your specific life. Step 5. A daily stress protocol. 10 to 15 minutes of controlled breathing or relaxation practice, every day. Step 6. The supplement layer. Omega-3, vitamin D3 with K2, a probiotic, and methylfolate, built on top of the foundation, not instead of it. 6 steps, in that order. Here is your action for today. Write down where you currently stand on each one, not where you want to be, where you actually are right now. That honest inventory is your starting point. If this series has been useful to you, subscribe. We post new health information every week, and every video is built on verified science. And if you want to know what the research now says about the single most important lab test men over 60 should be asking for, one that most doctors never order, and one that tells you more about your aging trajectory than almost anything else. Watch this video next.